Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. It's been 3 days and we're moving on to part 2 of how to make rhubarb wine. The first thing I'm going to do is insert a photo for you right here. That's what the inside of the bucket looks like right now. We've got several steps we're going to do, but let's talk about the equipment and the ingredients that I have in front of me. You'll want to make a list of these if you are following along with me. You are going to want a kitchen scale, and you're going to need that for the calcium carbonate. Your recipe may also call for something called precip chalk. Calcium carbonate is exactly the same thing. That will help you find it, because if you're looking for something called precip chalk, like online or something, you're probably not going to find it under that name. So calcium carbonate, you're going to need some of that. You're going to need pectic enzyme. You're also going to need yeast nutrient. And you will need a packet of wine yeast. Please do not use bread yeast. I don't think you'll be happy with the outcome. You will also need some tannin. I have tannin powder here, but you can also use strong black tea. When I get to this stage of adding it, I'll talk more about that. And I have some pH strips here. You don't necessarily need these, but I find it helpful because we are going to want to check the acidity in the rhubarb wine. Rhubarb is very, very acidic, which is why we will be using the calcium carbonate. The calcium carbonate lowers the acidity. Onto this side, this is a hydrometer. We'll be using that today. I'm not going to go into tons of detail on this, but basically, if you have one, use it. If you don't, it's not that big of a deal. The only thing it does is it's going to tell us the gravity of the liquid that's in this bucket, which will help us determine at the very end what our alcohol content is. And that might be something that's very important for you to know, whether it be just because you're drinking it and you want to know if it's high octane or not, or if you're selling it, it is something that you'll need to know. Forgot to tell you, all of this over here has been sanitized. I use Easy Clean. You can use whatever you want, but make sure that anything that touches the wine is sanitized. I have a 1/4 teaspoon here. I've got my big spoon. We're definitely going to be using that. And this is a wine thief, which I'll be using in conjunction with the hydrometer. Okay, I think that's it. As far as ingredients go, we'll go step by step on each one. I might talk a little bit about what they are and explain a little bit more. But as always, if you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments. This is going to be a short video, and we will be back in 4 days for the next step. So make sure you subscribe or do whatever you need to do to remember to come back in 4 days for our next step. All right, so you guys have already seen what's inside the bucket, and now it is time to squeeze that straining bag that we have in there that's got our raisins and our rhubarb pieces in it. We're going to want to really squeeze that nice and tight and get as much juice out as possible. We will be adding some water to this, but not until I know how much juice we have. So because I'm doing a 3-gallon recipe, I want to make sure that I've got 3 gallons of liquid in this bucket so that my carboy is full. It can be a little bit less than that because fermentation is kind of an active deal. So maybe if you want to go a little bit less than what you'll be, your end product is going to be, that's fine. It's not, doesn't have to be an exact measurement on the water part. All right, I'm gonna put my gloves on and I'm gonna dig in. See how much of a mess I make. All right. Oh, it's heavy, you guys, it's so heavy. Here it is. Oh, there it is, all the rhubarb. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna try to, I think I'm gonna need to put this closer to the ground because it's a little too tall for me, and I'll get some squeezing done. But to preserve my dignity and not waste your time, I'm gonna work on this, and then I'll be right back and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Whew, that was hard work. So here's the leftover rhubarb here. In here is the juice. I will pop a picture up for you to see what that looks like. It's really pretty. We got exactly 1 gallon of juice, so that sugar did a really good job extracting all of that beautiful juice out of the rhubarb. This is a lot of rhubarb, and because we put the Campden tabs in the first stage, this has not started to ferment yet, even though it's been in there for 3 days. So you have a couple of different choices on what you want to do with it. You can make yourself a pie, or you can put it on your compost pile. I personally would not give it to my chickens, only because it has been soaking in sugar, and I just feel like it's weird to give chickens sugar, but maybe if you want to give them a tiny little treat you can, but don't come at me. I'm not giving them to my chickens, but you don't have to throw this in the garbage. There are other things you can do with it since it hasn't started to ferment yet, and really I guess even if it had, you could still, I don't know, do whatever you wanted to do with it, but don't just throw it in the garbage. You know, try to use all of it if you can. So what I want to do now is increase this 1 gallon of juice up to 3 gallons. I'm going to start with cold water and add that right into the bucket. If you wanted to use a tiny bit less so that when it's fermenting it doesn't bubble up out of your 3 gallon carboy, that's totally fine. But keep in mind that when we siphon this off, there is going to be quite a bit of debris at the bottom. So for me, I think I'm just going to do the whole 3 gallons total, so 2 gallons of water. Now we can start adding in the other ingredients. We're going to save the calcium carbonate until the very end. We could also, we don't have to wait to do the gravity reading. We could do that right now. So why don't we do that first? You'll take your wine thief and put it in your bucket. Let's stir that water in a little bit. And it will capture some juice here. And then you'll take your hydrometer with the heavy end down, drop it in, and give it a little spin. And then you'll just want to make a note. This is 1.070. So I'm going to just put a note of that in my little winemaking journal, and we will be able to calculate the alcohol after it's done fermenting. And I'm just putting the wine back in the bucket here. Write that down. If I can find my handy dandy pencil. The goal is that when this is done fermenting, it will be 1.000, or it could be a little bit lower than that, which is why I can give you a guesstimate on the alcohol content right now, but I'd like to see if it gets down to like 0.999 or 998 or 996. So it'll just be slightly different. But this is a standard, what you would consider a standard table wine. It is very red right now, but most likely when this is done, it's going to be a white wine. Just keep that in mind. If you have rhubarb that's like brilliant red, the darker your rhubarb is, the darker your wine's going to turn out. So typically rhubarb wine ends up either being a clear white wine or looks a little bit more like a rosé. So I guess we'll see what this one ends up like, but it's a little bit dark right now. Let's put in the pectic enzyme first. We'll get our spoon because we'll be doing some stirring here. And for the 3 gallon recipe, we need 1.5 teaspoons. I only sanitized a 1/4 teaspoon, so it's wet. All right, let's go for it. 1.5 teaspoons. And give it a good stir. And we'll do 3/4 teaspoon of the tannin, or you could do the 3 3/4 cup. Let me check my recipe. Yeah, 3 3/4 cup of a strong black tea. And if you do it that way, as you're steeping the tea, let it get to like lukewarm or room temperature before you pour it in your bucket. Okay, 3/4 teaspoon of this. Next, we'll do the yeast nutrient, and we need 3 teaspoons. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Give it a good stir. Now we need 1.5 ounces of the calcium carbonate, and I'm going to put my kitchen scale on, hit the tare button so it doesn't measure the weight of my bowl. And we'll just go up to 1.5 ounces. All right, we have 1.5 ounces of the calcium carbonate, and this you're going to want to add slowly. I think I'll bring you over here to watch. And here we go. It's not fizzing up as much as I expected it to, so I guess this was a little anticlimactic. Well, all that calcium carbonate sure did decrease the acid in this wine. I am really hoping not too much. So we will see how it tastes in a little bit. Well, I mean, in a little bit meaning in a few weeks. Make sure everything is stirred in very well. And last but not least, we are going to sprinkle in the entire package of the wine yeast, if I can get it open. And the entire packet goes right in on the top. And give that a good stir. Now we are going to cover it up and leave it alone for 4 more days. I'll be back with you in 4 days to show you the next step. And that step is going to be siphoning all of this beautiful fermented wine off of whatever sediment is on the bottom and into a carboy, and we will also be installing an airlock here for you, so you'll get to see everything step by step and all the equipment needed. I'll talk to you about timelines and how long it's going to take before we can bottle this wine. And that is really it for today. We're just going to leave this alone for 4 more days, and make sure you guys stay tuned because I will see you then.